CTW here, and in this video we're going to show you how to load your software, connect to your dyno, and do a measure stroke and get ready to run for the first time. This video should be used in conjunction with the one we did on uncrating and getting set up, but this one will walk through the later parts where we're loading the software, connecting to the dyno, and getting you ready to test. So one of the things you get in your box with your dyno is a USB memory stick. If you plug that into your computer, you will see a folder called Copy to the Desktop. You want to do just that and grab it and drag it over to the desktop. We need that over there. It's got a lot of good information in it that we want to use, including the software. So we'll go through that once that is done. Also has a manual, a few other helpful documents to teach you everything you need to know about using the machine. So very important. So once that's done, we'll just go ahead and open that. And you can see inside there are several things in the install manual that we send with the machine. You'll see these detailed, but the number one thing is the software setup, and theoretically you should only have one version in there, but we're going to use the latest one being 21, being the year 2021, March 2nd. I'm sure it's going to advance over time, but basically find your software and go ahead and launch it by double clicking on it, and it's going to go through its little probe setup. It's going to look for a newer version just in case, and you may have the option to download the newer version, but in this case this is the latest release version. You're going to have two choices. If you just do RD dynos, it's just going to load the stuff you need for the rotational dyno, a crank dyno. And just to show you this, also there's a spring Aerotech, that's for the linear actuator. Don't need any of that, especially for just a crank dyno. But you can actually load the software either way. And we're just going to hit install. You bet. Continue. It's going to configure and load. Do whatever it is it needs to do to get your machine ready to run. While it's doing that, we can show you in the background, you're going to have a manual in here. There's a little PDF on how to do fields, which basically the notes area. Very important, team viewer. That's the program we use to remote in to help you. That allows us to come into your computer and run your dyno with you, so we can teach you how to use it. It's a very, very good, powerful tool to show you everything you need to know. You may get that. Oh, all done. We're going to finish. Now, the next thing you need to do is you'll have a zip folder with your dyno serial number on it. You're going to want to copy that. You right click, copy, and you can just as easily you can drag it. You're going to go to Documents, and you're going to drop it right in CTW Automation area. You're going to paste that in there. Those are your calibrations. Your dyno was calibrated specifically for its sensors in its load cell, so we want to make sure that you get those loaded and you get to use those. So once you have that in, again, Document CTW Automation area, we can go ahead and close all this. The next thing you want to do, you'll see there's an icon on your desktop now, Probe. You want to make sure you plug in your dyno, make sure your power is on, your data cable, everything's hooked up. But if we start the software by clicking on it, it's going to start up. You see probe version 21.3.2. Again, that's one of the ways to find out what version you're on. It's going to go. It's looking for the machine now, which is why we say have everything plugged in, because it's trying to find the machine, literally, the motor and the data card. So now We're going to go up to Preferences, and we're going to go to Restore Settings and Restart. This is the way we get you to load your specific calibration. So if I click on that, I can go to Documents, CTW Automation. I can find that zip folder. In this case, it's that. Yours will have your dyno serial number on it, and you should only have one. If you open it, it's going to restart the software and load those calibrations automatically for you. So your load cell, your temperature, your displacement all have very specific lookups and calibrations, and we want to make sure you're using those for your dyno. They are not generic, is the key there. All right, so once it's loaded, hopefully you have a green shield up here, and if we look at the green shield, analog input, that's basically a technical term for the data. So that's the data card, and the actuator is the motor. If they're both counting, you're in very good shape, and they are. That means they're connected. Now, if they're not connected, you can come into configuration, and you may have to do this, and this is in the install, you may have to set up the serial port for the motor. Your computer will assign that USB to serial adapter, a COM port setting. And if you have more than one, the software doesn't know which one to use, and you end up just telling it which one to use. So we show you how to do that in the install, and that's where it is right there. But that gets the software running. The green flag is for the key. Make sure you have your key plugged in, because obviously you can't collect data without the key. You can use the software, you just can't collect new data. And the green shield. Then you want to go to Live Control, and you want to do a measure stroke, because you want the dyno to measure the stroke so that it's ready to run. So I'm going to click yes, it's going to run. You'll hear it in the background. Basically, this sets the stroke, because everything in the dyno, the software, when you tell it a speed, it's all based on the stroke. Now, you should be able to look at the actuator going up and down. You should be able to tell what stroke it's on. You can always use a ruler, measuring stick, anything to tell how far it's actually moving, kind of a second verification. But when it's done, it's going to stop, and it's going to tell you what it thinks the stroke is. It thinks the stroke is 26 millimeters, which is correct. Ignore this one, that's more in the software. Click OK, and go back to configuration, because this is a new change. We just want to hit save, and that's going to write that stroke to your settings. And it just makes sure, first and foremost, that everything is ready to go from the beginning. All right, so we've saved that, and then we're going to go back to Live Control, and we're going to tell the machine to go to bottom dead center. That way you're always starting at the bottom. This one stopped at the bottom, so that's a good thing. That's why you didn't hear it turn on. So basically now you've measured stroke, the dyno is at the bottom, and you're ready to start collecting. And we have a video for building tests, but the first place you're going to go to is Test Builder, and you're going to build a test from there. Now, a test is very simple or very complex, just based on exactly what you need. If you wanted one speed and nothing else, it would be as simple as doing a start recording, run test speed, stop recording, and then move to bottom. That's a test. All done. If you click on that, you set your speed in here. This is in metric. And we'll just switch units just in case everybody sees the difference between millimeters. This is on 1 inch per second. If you wanted to run a 5 inch per second test, type in 5, nice and easy, and then do save as. And you can call this whatever you want, but call it first test, 5 IPS. And there you go. Once you go to, and you can't see because of the way the screen layout is. Let's see if I can help that. Down at the bottom is, it's over here. All right. Test execute. And you get to, in the end, put these screens wherever you want. But when you save over here, a test comes over here, and you can just hit test execute. And it's going to run that test. And basically you can see within 10 minutes, you're already running your first test. Give it a name, save, and there it is. Your first test, your first graph, your first data on your dyno. It's that easy and that quick. Now, keep in mind, there's plenty more videos on our YouTube channel to take you through building a simple test to a longer test, adding notes and automatic saves and multiple speeds and PVPs, making changes. There's all kind of things that walk you through step by step how to do this. But if all you wanted to do is collect one speed the first time you get your dyno, there it is. You're ready to go. That's CTW. Thank you.